Done. I send it to YouTube and then back to my website. So that way it comes out nice and even for you guys. So spirit boxes. It's very easy to find, and you're going to have a link to it anyway. So spirit boxes. What does this actually do? This allows us to communicate with the dead. How is it going to allow us to do that? It's going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations. This is the staticky noise you hear on your TV shows and your YouTube videos. Have you ever heard like where they're trying to talk and are asking questions and waiting for answers out of a static box?
No.
Totally.
It's okay. That's why I explain what these are. Mine is slowed down a little bit. I want the radio chatter to come through. You're going to hear radio stuff come. Commercials and DJs and songs. You're going to hear those things. If you can make out what it says in the short amount of time that you hear the little sections of it, you have to let us know. Because we're going to be asking questions and hopefully they're answering us through the radio station. Okay? So the cool thing about this particular spirit box is it's going to record the entire thing for us even when it's on mute. So you're going to have the full recording, but you're not going to be on it. It doesn't record outside noise. It only records the radio sweep. So in the morning, I will give you 5 to 10 audio markers if it's relevant or not to where we are, based on what I hear, to try to teach you a little bit more on how to listen for it, like when you have headphones on. So even if it says, I love Barney or whatever, I'm going to put it on there, especially if it came out pretty clear, so that way you know how to listen to it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and set it up, and you are going to be my listener. Think you can handle that?
You can do that. You'll be good.
It's pretty easy.
I think I could.
So even when it's on mute, it's still recording at a nice even level, which is why I bought this thing. No, that's not what we want.
This
So
will be very interesting.
When I'm doing my investigations, I put this thing on mute, start the recording, and throw it in my pocket. Nobody even knows what I'm doing. The camera sticks out of my cargo pocket with just the camera sticking out, so I have a video to watch later. And then I'm going to show you the stuff on my phone of how that works. So you have one little button you have to worry about. It's at the very top. It's a wheel. So you just turn it up and down. You're going to control the volume. So obviously when I'm talking and telling you stories, we want to keep it down. So I'll say go ahead and turn your spirit box down. When we're ready for it, I'll say spirit box is up.
Got it?
So
Be very careful.
Yep, it's a little wheel. You feel it? Go ahead and try it. There you go.
Oh, okay.
She wouldn't know anything.
It's okay. That's why I'm here. That's why you guys are here. You're amateurs. It's all right.
I just scared I'm gonna mess up.
Yep, you're not going to mess anything up. You're supposed to have fun. Can you mess up having fun?
No.
Okay. All right, so I do have an EMF meter on my phone. We don't have one out right now, but in case we do need it, it's going to kind of measure different types of electromagnetic fields. So they usually see those on your TV shows as well with the blinking lights. It measures 3 different types. They never explain to you how they actually work. So if I have to pull this out, it's going to measure either something natural, which is from the earth, that's why it's around 40, 41.
Okay.
And then if we had a cell phone near it and was giving off some kind of, electromagnetic field or a parking meter, it's probably going to jump up to about 50 to 52.
Okay.
And then anything crazy, I'm looking for things that aren't in a rhythm.
Okay.
So if it's staying like right around 52 and not moving around,
Then
I'm looking for it to go to 52 to 41,
spastic.
63.
Yeah.
Like I want it to go all over.
Okay.
So again,
Like there's a ghost and then
Like drastic
close.
jumps.
Yeah, and then it just like moves crazy.
like I have an actual one in my bag. I'll probably put it in the outside pocket at our first location. So I'm going to use another Spirit Box app on my phone. Now, this one is going to give us, I do need to send this to myself real quick because it's from my previous tour. It's going to give us words in the center of the screen from time to time. And here's what I'll tell you about that word list is that most of it is bogus. It doesn't mean anything. So it's going to give us a word. Like the last word on their tour was billion. Okay? And then they have a full word list of 67 terms. Now, probably a good 60 of these words don't mean anything based on the tour of where we were, of who we're talking to, or who we're trying to connect with, or the location itself. So
Okay.
again, it's up to me to find what's relevant to your tour and the locations we're going to and the questions we're going to ask. So
Might have
you'll
to
get
help us with that.
you'll get the entire list back because sometimes it's relatable to you. Sometimes somebody says, "Hey, my cat's name is Radar," and it says Cat Radar on the list. I don't know what your cat's names are. I don't know you like that. So again, it's going to be dependent. That's why I give you the whole thing. My gimmick is honesty. I want true evidence. The last one I'm going to use is a reverse spirit box. So this guy. Let me explain what it is first. It says it was FM radio stations being played backwards. I called bogus and I put it in my software and flipped it forwards. It's just a man and a woman saying random words and they flip the audio backwards so it sounds like gibberish. So it's basically white noise with syllables. That's basically how you have to look at it. So I'm going to turn it up just so you guys can get a gist of what it sounds like. It does sound like gibberish.
Yeah.
Can't make anything out, right? So when I do, it's going to be pretty clear. So let me play a quick EVP that I caught a few months ago with this, just so you guys get the gist of what that sounds like when I do catch something.
Yes.
Now, there will be an EVP, and then I always repeat what I heard in real time, so you'll hear my voice immediately after.
Baked beans breakfast.
Can you see me?
Breakfast.
What did it say?
Baked beans breakfast.
Okay, that one.
So so what does that mean? Your spirit box the next morning said, "I'll fix you." Then I got baked beans breakfast in real time, and then that word list gave me the word tea. I'll fix you baked beans breakfast and tea. That's an English breakfast. I was talking about a woman from England in the 1700s, and it's still a breakfast today. So do you see how 3 different devices gave me a whole sentence? How I have to look at this as a collective the next day?
Okay, Jolie, do you get it?
That,
Do you
yes,
get it?
And that is creepy.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's everyday life
That's
for me.
pretty,
It's what I do.
Wait, but did it say beans?
Beans, baked beans. So the cool thing is about the 2 spirit boxes that I'm going to be using, I can run them both at the same time, and that way you
Okay.
guys, we can use them when we need to.
Huh.
Now we start here, guys, because it's haunted. Of course it is, and you've been leaning on the building the whole time. You now have a ghost attached to you. I'm kidding. So
totally.
I would not like a ghost to be attached to me.
there won't be, trust me. So this place used to be called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants.
Okay.
Now, he used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were of age to drink. Well, one night 2 guys come over, they're not of age. Big John tells the bartender to cut them off. They get mad, they leave. They come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on and they get into a little fighting match.
Brawl,
And
yeah.
a couple of shots were fired
Yeah.
and John gets shot in the neck and the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. Big John gets up and he goes back to the bar and he looks at the bartender and he says, "Get me another beer and get him an ambulance." Now,
Ooh.
that's a story where nobody died. The bullet that hit John landed in the wall.
Yeah.
The bullet hole is still here.
Oh.
It's the bullet hole that
Oh.
haunts the place from Big John
Oh.
because it has his DNA on it. If it's here. They're doing renovations inside, so I don't know if it's going to be still there or not.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, people that sit in the front of the bar start to not feel well. A little queasy, headaches, just normal paranormal stuff. I
Ooh.
bring it up on purpose, not as a scare tactic, but a health hazard. If anybody's not feeling well, I need to know.
yeah.
It's a big deal, okay? So if you start to not get a little dizzy or whatever, let me know. We'll get you moved to a different spot. It's happened.
Oh, we're going in?
No, we're not going in
Okay.
any
I was
buildings.
like, we're not going in.
No, we're not going
Okay.
in any buildings tonight. So the other haunting of this place is that we had a big earthquake here in 1886.
Yes.
It's big for Charleston because we don't have earthquakes. So allegedly, this is where the first death occurred. The mantle that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building, and a piece of it broke off and struck somebody in the head. Killed him. Apparently, that was the first death of the earthquake. I don't have any
Huh.
proof of that, but the
Pretty sure
previous,
it did happen.
I'm sure it did. But the previous owner, this used to be called Cane Run Bar. I don't know if you've ever been down here or not. He just moved to Florida when the pandemic hit. So he kind of figured they're not going to be doing much as far as, holding people back. But anyway, he used to see shadows out here on East Bay Street. So kind of take his word for it. You guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
You tired of hearing me talk yet?
Listen, Jolie.
There's
Listen.
a lot of history here. Come on.
Listen. All right, girl. Over here.
Probably why there's like
Huh?
garbage bags all over the glass. There's like, I don't know.
Oh, Jolie, come on, girl.
Like covering the window.
I think they're doing that so we don't see what they're doing inside. So,
Hmm.
I don't know. Alright, so welcome to the Red Barn Lot. Have you guys taken any other tours down here? Like carriage
History tours, carriage tours.
So this is where we keep the horses for your carriage tours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the horses are still in there. They can hear us. So we're going to keep your spirit box at a nice low level. We don't want to spook the horses. We want it just loud enough to where we can hear it. Not yet. But I'm going to kind of tell you what else is going on here. So this is the same Red Barn Lot where they kept horses that delivered milk to Charleston. It's a pretty big deal because how else were the people of Charleston going to get their milk? They didn't have grocery stores. So that's the only bit of history I have on this particular area. Now, normally, actually, let me pull out that EMF real quick just so you guys can see if there's anything. Because it's kind of my first indication that something is happening. Let's see if I find it. The EMF meter. Alright, so we do have a little bit of something going on here. So I don't want rhythms out of this thing. So my phone would actually put it on,
At red.
but it's giving off a little bit of a rhythm there because my phone is forcing it to go all the way to red. Take it away, and I see a little bit of a rhythm, but then it goes away. This is my first indicator that something's happening. So we're going to keep this where you guys can see it in my bag, and just keep the lights flashing. Hopefully they flash where it's supposed to go. So,
I don't know if I should talk or just record.
I'm going to show you more about that thing anyway.
All right.
So, you want to try to... Well, let's go back to your spirit boxes. Let's get that squared away, because I always do spirit boxes first. So we're not going to be doing, like, provoking questions. We're not going to be trying to anger any ghosts. We're not going to be doing any of that kind of mess. So, we're going to ask questions that we... Well, later on, that we don't know the answers to. But here, because it's practice, tell me what color the barn is.
Red.
Okay, now you know that it's red. There's no way we can say that it's blue or purple or anything like that. So we're going to be asking if anybody's here, if they can tell us what color the barn is. That way we know we're listening for the color red. Okay? If we don't get an answer after, say, 30 seconds or so, we're going to ask the same question again. We're going to do that 2, 3, maybe 4 times. In the event you don't get an answer, then you can move on to another question. We want to give them time to muster up the energy to find the right word out of the DJ or spirit box or whatever they're using to try to communicate with us. But you're going to ask another question, like, what's inside the barn? What do we have inside the barn?
Horses.
Horses. But there's a lot of things that relate to horses. It's not like red, where it's red and that's it. We have animals, carriages, milk, delivery. They're draft horses. That's what type of breed they are. So we can get any of those terms. This is about putting clues together. Do you see how I do this? So again, I have to try to figure out what they're trying to tell me. If you say, hey, what's inside the barn, and they say draft, that makes sense. They're draft horses. If they say delivery, that makes sense too, because they were once delivery horses in there, and the person that's talking to us probably only knows those delivery horses. So that's how we put the clues together. Now, we're also going to be asking things about Big John's teammates, just so you get the practice of using it. What I ask for teammates is, tell us your name or your jersey number. I don't know what all their jersey numbers are. Just for example, my last tour, I got John Knows 83 out of my spirit box. Pretty clear. So now I got to go look up the number 83 because I have no idea who the heck that is.
83.
Yeah, and it was 1947. So I have the roster at home. I just have to look it up. And I got to learn stuff. And that's how I keep putting all these clues together. I learned stuff about...
This is very educational, too.
Yeah.
You're learning.
Paranormal.
But it's
History,
all about
too.
history.
Yes.
It's all about, you have to know what you're going after. So all these TV shows that you're watching, like, they're bogus. They're spending weeks and weeks and weeks there, and they're telling you that they spent one night. No, they spent weeks to get you the 3 little EVPs that they did find. So let's talk about your camera for a second. Go ahead, let's move over here. I want you to point it at this wall and tell me what color you see.
Red?
Okay, is it all red?
No. There's blue.
Okay, watch what happens when I get in the picture.
Oh, then the background turns blue.
Everything changes. Now you have an array of colors all the way from blue to orange to yellow, I'm sure. So you want to try to keep a person in view at all times. Why? Because
so it can adjust to the...
Right, exactly.
Okay.
My skin is going to be warmer than anything else out here. Now,
Okay.
granted, I'm cold tonight. I'm probably gonna be like 96, 97 degrees instead of the normal 98 to 99.
Work with like a hand.
Exactly. But
Oh,
here's
okay.
here's the reason why. So bring up the video.
Oh, no, because it's turning everything blue, and then
It's gonna
From
go
there,
based off
if
of
there is
whatever's
something-
inside the screen. Right.
if there is, then it would be better, like, contrast, like a...
So this is a video that I caught in our next location, and this orange is a wall. Did you see the two living
Oh,
people
yeah.
walking past the
Oh
wall?
my goodness!
Okay, now those two are living. Don't get too excited yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So, no, you're, I'll show you again, just because there's always a person in view. Now there's going to be two
Okay.
heads going past.
Uh-huh.
They're living. Now we're going to see two dead people going the opposite way as soon as I fast forward a little bit. I'm going to look right about here. Dead.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
my.
This
Oh
guy
my
was always in view the whole time. They should have been the same color.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for those black or dark blue spots to move on their own.
So were they over there?
They were in our next location we're going to go to.
Oh.
So that's also where that baked beans for breakfast occurred as well. So I want the two of you, now turn your spirit box up, and I want you two to kind of do just a little 1 or 2 laps around here, get used to how that adjusts, and go ahead and help her listen to the spirit box. I'm going to try to do things with my spirit boxes right
Okay.
here, but we are going to stay in the lot. So if you get too close to the horses, just dim it down a little bit, or just loud enough so your mom can hear it. Fair?
Yeah, you don't want to...
Yeah, they don't like the static. So you can turn it up a little bit
There you
louder so
go.
you can actually hear it.
There you go. Come on. Come
All
over
right,
here.
take a little one.
Come over here.
Text
Come over
me.
here.
Nope, you're gonna
Over
speak
here.
to Mom. I'm
Over
gonna do
here.
my own thing.
Walk around. Slowly. Slowly.
What is that?
Keep walking. Yeah, that's a good distance. Don't go. Don't walk too fast, okay? Come around this way. Okay. Keep going. You're doing good.
Did I just hear the letter E?
Maybe you did. Keep going.
The letter E.
Keep going. Go over here. Wait. Okay, don't move. Walk a little slower, baby. Okay, there you go. A little bit slower. Go walk around here a little. Go walk over here. I want to see something move. Okay. I don't. Walk a little slower, okay?
Slower so I can hear Did I just hear my coach's name?
What did you hear?
I just heard my coach's name.
Your pooch's name?
My coach's. Nancy.
No way.
I heard Nancy's name.
Nuh-uh.
It said Nancy something. Oh my god.
And remember, it will just better say what's the name again?
What's the name of that?
She heard a Nancy, and that's her coach's name.
I
Her
just
tennis
heard it
coach.
again.
You heard it again?
I
Is that
heard it
normal?
Again. I heard my tennis coach's name, which is Nancy.
Nancy?
I asked again, and it said Nancy. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. That's good. You're coming up with your own questions. It's good.
Mhm.
Now, I can't prove that, so only you know that, right? That's the kind of stuff we talked about with the cat radar.
Nancy. You heard it twice?
Huh?
You heard it twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and try a few more questions. I'm going to continue on. I do try to stay away from people's cars because they get a little
Oh,
weird about
yeah.
that stuff, especially if they think we're filming it.
Yeah.
You can imagine, I get screamed at a lot.
I'm sorry. Alright, girl. How about you stand over here? Go towards that building. Oh, more away from the car. Away from the car. There you go. Now go ahead and ask a question. So,
I just heard we will rock you.
what?
I just heard we will rock you, the song.
Oh, come here. Say, what's your name again?
again.
You heard, what did it say?
It said Nancy.
Ask how old are you? Ask it again.
What is the color of the building on the left of us? I said, what is the color of the building next on the left of us, and it didn't say anything.
Ask how old she is. Nancy. Come on.
How old are you, Mom? How old?
Jolie, ask simple questions, baby. Come on.
How old? Oh, wait.
How old are you?
Okay, so I'm 8, right?
Yeah. Jolie, stop moving so quickly, please. Over here. Why don't you just stand still right here? Okay, right there. Okay, there you go. Stay right there. There you go.
How old am I?
Alright, did you hear anything else?
No, I didn't. I asked how old am I, and I didn't.
No, Jolie, they're not gonna know that, baby.
I said, first I said, I'm 8, but then I asked it.
How old are you?
How old am I, and it didn't answer.
So you gave them the answer first to see if they'd repeat it back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
fair. That's a fair assessment.
Okay.
And that was good. You tried something new. Let's go learn some real history. What do you think?
Yeah.
Go get into some
Go on, girl.
stuff. Mommy getting used to the camera.
Yeah.
A little interesting.
I like it.
I'm getting
I wish
used
I
to
had
this.
this in the house.
Well, that's actually a tool that plumbers and electricians use.
Okay.
So I've had firemen and mechanics and all
Wow.
kinds of people that use it on a daily basis, kind of analyze my videos. They can't make sense of them either. So, like, yeah, that should have happened. That's a poor
So,
thinking.
quick question. What do you think about orbs? Little orbs flying everywhere from the
Depends
cameras.
on what color they are.
They're like, it looks like flashes of light, just regular, I guess, white.
Like there's light in them? Or are they...
Yes, light.
Really?
Like zooming.
I paused on an orb moving,
Next
and
to our
it
lamp.
looked like a face. And everyone I've shown to, they can clearly see the outline of the face, the nose, the eyes, and everything.
My uncle even traced it.
I wish I had the video on me, but
So, you can always send it to me.
yeah.
My wife, she does all the graphic design and photography work for me.
Uh-huh.
That's what she went to school for. So she does all my book covers and
Yeah.
Stories in a Cemetery logos and all that stuff for me. But she, like, people send us stuff all the time, and I'll just send it over to her and have her give it a quick look. If there's anything there, she'll
Yeah.
definitely.
I would love to.
And if it was taken, what kind of camera was it?
With my phone.
What kind of phone?
No, house camera.
Half camera.
House camera.
Okay.
On top of our fridge?
So like a Nest, like a Google Nest.
No, it's just, I don't know what brand it is.
Okay. Well, again, the
An
wife works for
Amazon
Best
one.
Buy during the daytime, so she knows her phone cameras, and she
Okay.
knows all of the different types of cameras because we use them too. We have a Google Nest. We use a Casa for my house, for my car when we're on vacation and we take her car.
Mm-hmm.
But we know the different cameras, so we'll be able to tell. You just have to let us know what it is.
Okay.
I think I just got that word again. I could have swore I heard my full name on my spirit box, and then it actually said we live in the street name of where I grew up. So I don't normally put my personal anything into this,
Yeah.
but that was like super, super weird.
Creepy.
I didn't hear anything.
Well, you heard Nancy.
Yeah, you got Nancy. So we'll kind of take that. I hate to
Oh.
ask, but is Nancy still living?
Yes, her,
Yes.
yes, her
I-
tennis coach.
Okay, I have to ask, and I have to ask boldly. I don't beat around the bush. So, I told you Ghost Hunting's not always pretty, so welcome to another parking lot. This is actually home to Charles and Eliza Pinckney. So, their mansion would have been in the front facing East Bay Street, and then Eliza's garden would have been lined up with that tall tree to the left, all the way down, and then we're standing where the slave quarters would have been. So, when I was here on my last tour, I got the word slavery as soon as I said that on my word list for them. So, a couple weird things about Eliza and her story. So Eliza married at a very young age, at least what we would consider young. Not teenage years, we don't go back that far. But she got married because her dad was sick over in England and he wanted her home. And he wanted all his kids home and she didn't want to go. So she got married and she stayed right here in the United States. This was in the 1700s. Okay, so really a long time ago. It was 300 years ago, actually, over 300 years ago now. So with that said, Dad starts sending her gifts once he gets better. One of those gifts happens to be the plant indigo. Now you guys you live here, so you've probably seen the word indigo a few times. Do you know what indigo is? Do you know what indigo is?
It's like a color?
It's a color.
Color.
But it's named after, the color is named after a plant. The plant makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Mom's wearing it right now. That's what we use it for now. Do you guys have Disney Plus?
Yes.
Okay.
We watch Mandalorian.
So do I. I'm a big fan. But there's a show on there called The World According to Jeff Goldblum. He actually did an episode on denim, and he shows what indigo is. So it's really, really cool. And he shows you how we use it today. And he shows how the rips and tears and all that stuff is made in jeans right now, too. So anyway, we already had a pretty deep culture with the Gullah culture with indigo here in Charleston because of our slaves. The Gullah culture already knew how to cultivate this plant. Eliza and Charles owned slaves that knew how to cultivate this plant. So the rice plantations were going downhill, and the indigo crop, they moved it over to Mount Pleasant in Slee Farm and made it a huge cash crop for us, pretty much saving Charleston and all of the colonies. So it was a pretty big deal. The reason the way she did that was because she used Dad's contacts over in England and was selling it to other countries. We're talking about the 1700s where there's no such thing as a businesswoman. They were all businessmen. So businesswoman didn't exist. Watch the cars go flying in.
You're good.
Now watch with the camera. He's gonna be getting out of his car. Just kind of, if we want to just kind of hold it, make it look like we're not filming anything. People get weird about that stuff.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so Eliza and Charles also had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution for South Carolina. That's a pretty big deal for us, too. But I'd like to talk about Eliza. So I'm going to give you some weird questions to ask Eliza, but you're not going to know what the answers are. So hopefully she'll tell you. So you can ask her how old she was when she got married. That's step number 1. You can ask what happened to the mansion. That's step number 2. Now, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back, right? So she goes by her maiden name. So it's Eliza blank Pinckney. So hopefully if you can remember maiden name and not middle name, because a lot of kids get that confused. But the first wife did the same thing. She goes by Eliza blank Pinckney too, but the blanks are different. So got to try to figure out what those maiden names are. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. This one's easy. So you can ask how old she was, how did she die, where did she die, where is she buried, and which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Do you know what a pallbearer is?
No.
Okay, so when somebody dies and they're carrying the casket, the coffin, the people that carry the coffin are called pallbearers. They're kind of the people that respect them the most. So the fact that she had a U.S. president carry her to her grave is a pretty big deal. So, now lots of people coming and going out of here. It's Saturday night for sure. So we are going to explore this lot a little bit. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Mom. I believe that homeless person is still up there by the gate, so you guys are going to kind of stay on this back half.
Okay.
The cops have been doing a pretty good job about keeping him out of here, but he gets a little grumpy if we get too loud in here. So we want to keep your spirit box stuff back here. Ask as many questions as you want. And you guys are going to kind of stay together like you did before. I am going to wander off because I get a lot of activity here myself.
No
We're
problem.
going to spend a good 10 minutes here. So listen close, ask the questions. And you're going to ask Eliza directly. Say, hey, Eliza, tell me how old you were when you got married. You know, you're going to act like you're having a conversation with her, and hopefully she can talk right back to you. How's that sound? She's like, I'm in.
Don't be scared.
Where's the place where Eliza most answers?
So,
most activity.
It's towards the front, and that's where the homeless guy is. So I want you to kind of stay away from this guy. But she usually hangs out where her mansion was. But you gotta keep in mind, this was her garden back. So you can ask things about her garden, what she liked to plant, what her favorite color is, you know, all of those kind of things. I mean, it's not uncanny for me to get terms or words on the word list that are wrapped around her garden, like shovel, dirt, bulbs, any things that she would have planted. So bulbs are certain kinds of plants. They don't have seeds, they have bulbs. So you'll learn that in science next year probably. You guys probably plant some stuff. So most educational tour you're ever going to take. I promise you.
All right, girl. So
have
we're
some
going to
fun.
stay on
Yeah.
this side, okay? Okay.
See what you do.
Like a
Oh, that thing's
line.
going crazy.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That way you know where the ghosts are.
Maybe they want to talk to you. You can ask questions. Okay, so let's stay over here. Okay, go ahead and ask your questions. Yep. Oh, right here, right here. Stay right over here. Ask
What's your name? Eliza?
Eliza.
Eliza? Is that your name? Well, if it is, how old are you?
Ask it again.
Eliza? Eliza? How old are you?
Eliza.
There's no answer.
Is this going up again?
No, it's not going to red.
Go until you see it going crazy, and then ask the questions. Yep.
Eliza, how old are you?
Can you turn it up?
Didn't answer.
Huh?
Didn't answer.
Go ahead. Go ahead and ask. Keep asking. Louder. A little louder.
Elijah, how old are you? There's no answer.
You gotta talk, baby. Just keep asking questions.
Elijah, how old are you?
Is that how you pronounced it again?
That's how you pronounce it, but she isn't answering.
Do you need to turn that up a little higher? Because that's going off like crazy.
Elijah, how
It's not
old are
Elijah.
you?
It's that's not how he pronounced it, is it? Eliza. Was it Eliza? Turn it up a little, baby.
She didn't answer.
Go ahead and ask a different question. Say, what is your favorite thing in a garden? Go ahead.
Elijah, how old are you? Oh God. Elijah, what is your favorite color?
Ask her what her favorite plant is.
Elijah, what is your favorite plant?
Nothing.
Gluffin, I think she said.
Huh?
Gluffin?
A muffin?
Gluffin?
Huh?
I think I heard gluffin.
She what? A glutton?
Gluffin.
Bluffin?
Gluffin.
Gluffin?
Gloffen.
Gluffin? Ask again. Ask again.
Elijah, what is your favorite plant?
You gotta ask.
What are you hearing?
It's going off crazy, but I asked questions, but she didn't answer. But I heard someone say gluffin.
I have no idea what that is, Jolie.
Bluffin?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I do, like I'll always give you a commentary. Like I'll tell you why I'm doing the things that I'm doing when you guys are listening to your audio. So what I'll do is I'll ask questions that you guys don't know I'm asking.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I just asked was how many people did I bring with me?
Uh-huh.
The answer can go anywhere. It can go to your spirit box. The two that I'm holding are using Mom's camera because it does record audio, or this audio. There's 5 points of audio of where the answer can go. That's why it's up to you guys to review a lot of this data on your own. So, again, if I say how many people that I bring with me, and I'm way over there, and you don't know I asked that question, but you heard the number 2, there's proof that there is something going on. Because you didn't get the suggestive thought of the number 2. I do that all the time.
A lot of analyzing.
I just got the number 100, which I got a jokester with me.
There's a 100.
So I never ask, like, how many of them are you? Like, how many people are here? Because I can't prove that. I can prove how many people I brought. So, but this guy, the light's not blinking. There's a second light on the back of that restaurant. Where did you guys go to eat, by the way?
At TGI.
Fridays.
Oh, okay. So on the back of Five Church Restaurant over there, there's a second light. It's pretty weak. It's a floodlight, just like the one on the left. But there's one to the right of that, and when it's on, it can blink, like based on the energy that's here. And I filmed it. It usually goes in sync with that EMF meter, so it has the same pulse of whatever's going on with that. Now, it's obviously not on tonight, and it's kind of my barometer that, hey, we might not get a whole lot of activity until I look at it as a collective. So again, but it's not on, so we can't test my little theory. But, so I don't want to say like my last tour here was pretty. Oh, I did get the word face. I heard I know her and then face, and I was like, okay, that's a little weird. But we were just talking about the face and the orb.
Oh.
So-
God. No.
So again, these are how I have to put these clues together. Like you probably forgot all about it. You were thinking that they were saying they know your face or her face, but I put it together of
Saw
the
it
face and
as.
the orb that we were just chatting about.
Yep.
So it's my job to remember all of the
repeating.
little things that we chat about, so that way I can kind of put all those clues together.
So you saw the word face on there?
No, it said the word
No,
face.
Oh,
it said
okay.
the word. Remember how we were just talking about the orb's face?
Yeah, like it was just a face.
Yeah, but this is somebody that she might know, and this was something recent or something in Texas.
Oh, something recent. About half a year ago.
Okay, so you were living here. So again, it's not like Eliza just stayed here and that was it. She traveled, so she probably knew people. So I'm going to let you continue listening.
Go
We're going to
on,
spend
girl.
another 5 to 10 minutes here just to see if you can capture. Because if I were to have a big finale, this would be it. Like this is, I probably get the most activity out of this location. We're going to go to more, but I'd like to try to capture as much as I can here because it just keeps collecting and collecting. So keep listening and tell me what you hear. Keep
All right,
asking
girl.
those questions.
And so, okay. Why don't you come over here more? Because it's, just don't go too much over here.
It was going.
Yeah, okay. Well, yep.
It was going
Okay, that's
crazy
good.
while
That's
I
good. Go ahead, ask.
Elijah, how many people are here?
What did it?
Did it just say number 2?
I don't know, baby. Did it? Listen.
It just said number 2. It said number 2.
Say how many people came with us all together.
How many people were with us all together? Didn't
Huh?
answer.
Huh?
Didn't answer.
Ask a different question. Ask about her favorite plant.
We did.
Ask it again.
Elijah, when did you die? Nothing. Elijah, when did you die?
Eliza.
No answer.
Ask another question. Ask her her favorite color.
Elijah, what is your
It's
favorite color?
come over here, Jolie.
Since he said to that gate, I would put this in
Yeah, don't go over there, Jolie.
there. Elijah.
A lot.
Wait. What should I ask?
Come on.
Like, what should I ask?
Just anything. Come on.
What should I ask?
Ask the same question until you get an answer.
When were you, Elijah? When were you born?
Eliza.
Did I say Eliza?
Can you hear it? Do you need? You can
Eliza?
turn it up just a tad bit.
Let me
Go
go
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Eliza, when were you born? Florida. You said Florida. For some
Florida.
reason. You said-
Did you ask where were you born?
Yeah, I said that. You just said Florida. I heard the word
Did
Florida.
Did you ask her where she was born?
I said, where were you born? And it literally just said Florida.
Something said Florida.
Yeah.
She was born in England.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but just heard the
Well,
thing,
maybe.
Florida.
Doesn't necessarily have to be Eliza either, but I can't prove anything else of somebody who was born in Florida. Anything else that you have heard?
No, nothing else.
Alright, so we're going to actually walk up East Bay Street about 4 blocks. I didn't hear anything either, and I didn't get any other words showing up, so
That's
again,
she heard Nancy 3 times over there.
yeah,
That's crazy.
it is crazy. Now see if there's a different Nancy, because obviously if the Nancy that you know is still living, it might be somebody else or somebody else's wife or something along those lines. So I'll have to dive in a little bit.
Is that normal for it to repeat the same?
If it repeats, it's of significance. So, for example, when I ask, like, because normally I have another spirit box running too with the teams. So if I have 2 teams of spirit box people asking Eliza a bunch of questions, I start asking Charles questions, the husband. And a lot of times he'll tell me that the term October, because he was born in October and he died in October. So
Oh.
it'll come up twice to kind of show me that it was him, that it was he. So it is, when things show up at this, more than once, especially even in a word list, if I get the word 100 again, it means something. I just have to find out what it means.
But Mom, my auntie died in October.
Yeah, maybe that was.
So, but that wasn't tonight that I got there. So the answers to the questions, first off, the mansion caught fire in the Great Fire of 1861. So that's why it got destroyed. Eliza Lucas Pinckney is the one that planted all the indigo. So Lucas was the name you're listening for there. Eliza Lamb Pinckney was the first wife named Eliza. Eliza Lucas Pinckney died of breast cancer at the age of 70 in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. And it was George Washington that took her to her grave.
Wow.
So shows you how important she was.
Huh.
And I didn't know any of that until I got George Washington twice in 1 week. And I was like, what the heck is the significance of George
Wow.
Washington at the Pinckney Mansion site? So, of course, he was the pallbearer.
Ooh.
So it made sense. Let's see, what else did I have you ask? I think that was pretty much it. I stayed away from some of the other tragic stuff that 8-year-olds should really be asking about.
There's a lot
Yeah.
more.
I'm being mindful because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my tour that I'm like,
Oh, yes.
I gotta watch my audience. So we are. Yeah, we're gonna go a couple of rounds just to not disturb the homeless
Of
guy.
course.
Now your EMF meter that you're holding, the one with the lights, It's going to go crazy as we're walking up the street because of all the parking meters.
Okay.
So you can pretty much ignore it until we get
Okay.
to the alley that we're going to go to. Yeah, we're going to go to a few alleys.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
I hate alleys.
You'll be fine.
Oh,
This is good
girl.
stuff. You're the one that wanted to do this, I'm guessing.
Come on, girl.
Yeah.
All right,
You're
let's do
brave.
this.
You're brave.
I am.
Here.
It's just bad feeling about alleys.
What grade are you in?
Third.
Third.
She's very big for her age. Very tall.
You know what?
Could pass as a
My
10.
youngest is 14.
Ah.
And she's probably the same height.
Yeah, she's
Her
telling
mom-
you, Jelly, you're really tall.
My mom says I look like a 10-year-old, but I think I look like a 14.
I don't know about 14. honey.
Well, even my
You're getting
20-year-old
there.
has only got like an inch on my 14-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Her mom is real short.
Well, my mom's 5'2". I ended up being like Jolly Green.
Maybe same height as me. I'm 5'10".
I'm 5'10", yeah. Yeah, she's gonna be taller than me though, definitely. She's gonna be a very tall girl.
So
right, girl.
my ex-wife has nieces and nephews. Like a niece and a nephew, their brother and sister. I want to say, I'm trying to think of how tall they are. They're like 6'7", 6'8". Like
Oh
they
my
tower
goodness.
over me.
Oh,
Like
wow.
they're like 17 and 18. Like
Holy
they're
cow.
giants.
Wow.
So is this what you guys thought you were getting yourselves into?
Yes, definitely. Her, she probably had a little less idea, but I knew that this was exactly. You know where we are. That's the street with all your little store that you go to.
Where the Pusheen.
Pusheen.
We're at the back end of the market.
Yep. Zoe, look at that tree. Christmas tree. It's beautiful.
I actually like having smaller groups. By the
Yeah.
way.
Helps.
Well, even at 10 people, like I still give undivided attention to everybody. But when it's like less than 5, I can definitely stick with the Like my last group was 5. That's like, I prefer like 6 to 7 is perfect. Because it gets all the tools out, and everybody gets to see everything.
Yeah.
I got lasers and all kinds of stuff.
Good girl?
Pole?
No.
That's because the electrical line to the meters is underneath your sidewalk. So it's strong enough to make a feel touchdown.
I can't believe they have bars like this open because of COVID.
It's not open. It's not a bar.
Oh, it's not a bar?
No, it's a it's like a dessert place.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised it's as crowded as it is.
It's one of the few places that'll be open late. That's
Oh.
why. Come on, everybody. Your turn.
I can't wait to review this.
Well, I put everything on the website so that way you guys can download it. Like your audio will come through an MP3, so you can just right-click and download it, save it to your phone if you want. Listen to it in
Okay.
your car, do whatever you want to with it. You don't have to watch it straight from the website.
Okay.
And that'll be a YouTube video.
Yeah, definitely want to download it.
That's why I do it the way that I do it, so that way you guys can keep it.
A lot of this is analyzing this stuff when we get home, okay?
That's a lot of heat.
Well, maybe not tonight, but
You won't have it
tomorrow.
tonight anyway. because
Oh.
I review it in the morning.
Yeah, you need
I
some time.
give it, like, I still give you an analysis of what I found.
Uh-huh.
So I review everybody's data for about 2 hours. So with right now, you'll have 90 minutes, almost 5 hours worth of data. I'm not going to review it all. I'm only going to give it about 2 hours, look at it as a collective, see what I see, write something up for you, give you a few audio markers and hopefully a few video markers to take a look at and see what you see. And then the rest is up to you. I do 2 tours a night. I can't review 7 to 9 hours from each
That's
tour.
a lot.
I'm in college too, so
Yeah.
and I write books. And then I gotta get ready for my tours tomorrow night. So now we're getting everything charged and yeah, gonna make it right now.
All right, girl. This is it. I think I've been. We haven't been down here.
That's a big tree. I didn't notice it last time.
All right, girl. Go
When I
ahead.
have a smaller group, when we're walking down here, it can kind of give you the gist of what's happening here. So on her recording, I'm going to be reviewing for names. The reason why is because this used to be a street where people lived. So the names I normally get are Benjamin and John.
Oh.
Benjamin and John lived here in 1801, and they were 2 out of the 4 residents who lived here. I got half the people that lived here that like to talk to me from 1801, which is super cool. They did do archaeological dig in between these clay bricks we're walking on.
Mm-hmm.
And the peninsula of Charleston was much skinnier. So those buildings that are behind us on East Bay Street, they weren't there. So the smell of low tide would be coming through here, which means these people were probably lower class.
Mm-hmm.
So when they did do, now see how steady that is? That's coming from the 2 buildings on either side. So that's a rhythm to me, kind of like what I told you before, where it's going to make a little pulse. Even when it stands still like that, that means it's coming from somewhere. That's man-made. Well, it's going to be touching it. See how hot it is now? See how steady it is? It's got to be coming from the restaurant behind us. Because our kitchen is nearby, we have all those appliances running, all that electrical stuff. So when they did the archaeological dig in between the bricks, they found some of those people's tools and silverware and some of their clothing. That's how they figured out that they were lower class. So
okay.
I listened to her Spirit Box recording pretty close. I do get some weird like cold spots in here that don't make any sense. I've had weird shadow pictures show up. When I had my party of 10, there's a digital camera involved as well. So there's people
Okay.
taking pictures, all kinds of things. So I do listen to your Spirit Box pretty close in this area just to see if I can get those names and give you the names back. They've got the name Grayson. It doesn't make any
Grayson?
sense. Yeah, there's no Grayson that ever lived down here. Again, 80% of this means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is that at the top of your data page, I give you a link and all the list of the apps and tools that I use. So that way, in case you guys have questions or you want to use it for yourself and so forth and so on. So
My cousin has a friend named Grayson.
are they living?
Yes.
Okay.
We're looking for 10 people,
We're
Jolie.
looking for dead people.
You silly girl.
I love bringing people down this alley because it's one of the oldest streets in Charleston.
It is?
Yeah. I mean, if these bricks are from the 1600s, you could tell that they're kind of in the same shape.
What about the cobblestone one?
So those are going to be later 1600s, probably
A
the
little
same
bit.
time period.
So this is older. Wow.
They're,
Slightly.
probably the same age.
Okay.
I'd say within 20 years of each
Is
other.
this the same alley that in the ghost tour?
No, baby, it's a different one.
Oh.
We're going to go to another alley that's pretty popular, so you've probably been to that one. That's Philadelphia Alley.
Yes. Do you remember that street? That's the one, I believe.
With the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll tell you my version of the story when we get there, because my version gives you all the words and clues of what you're listening for in the Spirit Box. That's what's so different about this tour. So yeah, that's the big popular area.
It's been a while. I might need a refresher.
That's okay.
anyway.
I'll retell
I
it.
just,
It's a good story.
I've heard a lot of stories. We've done many tours. Really,
Well,
get
the
in
cool
there.
thing is that you're never going to be able to forget this one because you're going to have the recording. So if you forget any of the stories.
All right, girl.
I feel like we're Ghostbusters.
You're so silly.
She's having fun, which was
Oh yeah.
the main cause of this.
This was all for her. I'm
I
just.
want to do something.
I honestly didn't think I'd be doing something like this again since that jail tour. It startled me.
Because I've been doing this for so long on my own, I know that it's not scary, and it doesn't have to be. The TV shows play off of people's fears. The jail plays off people's fears, even though my own investigation pretty much gives you the same stuff of what you experienced. But again, read the podcast, and blog, you'll find that out.
Oh, yep, this is it right here. Yep.
I tell the story out here.
Yeah.
Just because it's so popular. And they
Okay.
make it a big ordeal.
Yeah.
So this way, we don't get interrupted, and now you'll be able to focus on some of the key terms.
Okay.
By the way, that's one of the best picture shots in Charleston right there.
That's
Steeple.
beautiful.
Oh man.
So, do you know what this was called before?
No.
Dueler's Alley.
Yes.
It's Philadelphia Alley now. Before that, it was Dueler's Alley, and before that, it was called Cow Alley. Why? Because we kept all of the livestock here for
Okay.
Charlestown. So they didn't have room on their own land, so they put them all in one spot. So cows, chickens, and all kinds of things were running around down here. So the story is pretty simple. There's a doctor, Joseph Brown Ladd. He moved down here from Rhode Island. He had a fiancée, Amanda, that he was supposed to get married to, but she just inherited a bunch of money. And the attorney that was handling the money said, "You're not getting married." Send the doctor away. So the doctor moves down here, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to his stay in Charleston. So that there was somebody walking by that saw what was going on. His name was Ralph Isaacs. And Ralph said, "You don't want to stay here. Let me take you somewhere else." So he takes him over to 59 Church Street, which is about 1.5 miles from here. That's actually, I think it's a Thomas Rose house now, but it's got all kinds of hauntings attached to that house. But anyway, he rents the house and everything's going well. The doctor's practice starts to take off, so he's making lots of money, and he becomes known as the whistling doctor. Because he
You
whistles
hear
because,
the-
yeah, so you can hear the whistles down here. Now, you can Google the whistling doctor and read the story all over again. But anyway, him and Ralph become friends, but the doctor's making a whole lot more money, which means he's in a different part of society, which means he gets better seats to when they go see plays, so they can't sit next to each other. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and I don't know which story guide you had, but a lot of them like to say it was from Dock Street Theater. None of us can prove which theater they saw that at.
Okay.
So, again, I'm all about honesty. So anyway, they're talking about the new actress. The doctor loves the new actress. Ralph does not. They start arguing, then it turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiancée back home. They obviously get very mad at each other and they separate. Now, Ralph's from here, so he has ties with the newspaper. He calls his friends at the paper, and he puts an ad in the paper. Before we had devices, people read books and newspapers. So he puts an ad that says that the doctor is a disgrace to the city of Charleston. He's not one of us, he's not from here, yada, yada, yada. The doctor rebuttals with, "Let's go to Dueler's Alley and settle this." Now, normally, what do we think of when a duel is about to occur? What's going to happen? Have you seen Hamilton?
No.
Sorry, every girl I've met between the age of 7 and 20 has been in love with the Hamilton musical.
Oh.
So
Maybe
there's a
she
duel
will.
about to occur. What's going to happen? What do you think?
What do you think?
I don't know.
We got two guys about to fight. How are they going to fight?
But like this.
Guns. They're going to go back to back, and then they're going to take 20 paces away from each other, and then they're going to turn and shoot. And whoever shoots the other person lives. Right?
Oh.
Okay? They're trying to kill the other person.
Kind of like that.
That's what they're trying to do. Now, most of the time with a duel, Mom, we think of somebody's going to die because we're ignorant Americans and that's just who we are. So, that only happens about 25% of the time. When somebody did die, there's a doorway that we're going to pass up where they would pick up the dead body, go over the courtyard, over to St. Philip's, and then drop the body and then go celebrate the winner. Now, here's what happened. With the other 75% of the time, it was an act of courage and bravery. So they would come down here, take their 20 paces, and they would shoot their gun in the air or into the ground. They were just willing to take a bullet for whatever they were fighting over. So, here's what happened to the doctor. They take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to make a point. He was willing to take a bullet for Amanda, and he did, to the kneecap. Ralph shot him in the knee, so he didn't die, but Ralph wanted to make his point too, that he was still pretty mad. So the doctor's friends pick him up, and they carry him all the way home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, because he couldn't heal himself, because he is a doctor, right? So they say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles of the doctor. Now, my tours actually had to change. We have a new neighbor in town that does not like me bringing my tours by his home. At the end of this alley, there are houses. And he does not like me going down there, so I had to change my route. So when we go through this gate, we're going to go to the right, and we're going to walk pretty slow to see if my audio can pick up any whistling. So you're going to keep your spirit box down, because now this is where you're going to, I mean, it's still recording, so we're good. So yeah, you don't have to mess with anything. But this is why we have all these different tools to listen for those whispers. Now, I don't have, we get a lot of hecklers, as you can imagine, with this story. You hear how quiet it is, it's always this quiet back here, unless there's a bunch of tours running through. So, we do get those. There's a fake one right now for your audio. Now you know you're not listening for that loud of a whistle. It's going to be pretty faint. So if you have headphones or earbuds, this is where you're going to turn it up so you can listen to it. Trying to think what else about this.
When we get this.
Was Uncle's friend shot in the knee or what?
No.
Was it what?
No.
Is she bringing up other stuff that people have to
No,
live
that's irrelevant, baby, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uncle and his friend.
I don't know.
I am going to get you the creepy sound effect at the gate.
All right, girl, be very quiet. Listen, try to listen, okay? Take a right. And take a right. Here, go and take a right.
You can turn it up a little bit if you want to listen. But this is like, to me, it's the most beautiful spot we have in Charleston.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it.
I took pictures of you and Leah down here.
Yeah, we would normally go left. This is the gate where they would take the dead guy over to the courtyard and then over to the cemetery. Yep. What's that? Yeah, so we'll pick it up on the audio if the doctor's actually whistling for us. Now, what's funny is I've actually picked up whistling on the spirit boxes, which means it's radio chatter, while I've been walking through here. Kind of proving the point that this is the story of the whistling doctor. So you can turn it up a little bit more. We're not disturbing anybody here. There's no tours down here. Did they tell you the story of the handprint down at the end?
No.
So these bricks up here, these were refreshed and renewed in the 1990s. You can see like they're pretty flat. But those down there, those are sun-dried bricks from slave kids. And the reason why I used to take people down that way was so that they could see the full handprint from a slave child. You know, it's just a piece of history that tourists like to see. You know, and that it was the day before Thanksgiving. I had some guy coming out screaming at me.
I'm sorry?
I had some guy coming out screaming at me because it's residential. Tour guides in Charleston, we're allowed to pass through as long as we're not talking to our guests and, you know, that kind of thing, or we're just passing through. He come out screaming. Like, he was going to call the city of Charleston on me and wanted my name and ID, and like, it was a mess.
Wow.
I had a full team that night. It was 10 people. Like, they looked at me like, what in the world? I'm like, people get angry.
Oh, man.
People get angry.
Yeah, let's not go down there. Good.
Yeah, we're not heading down
I
there.
don't need someone yelling at Jolie.
I had kids on my tour. And what's funny is half my guests were sticking up for me.
Yeah,
Like, they were yelling right back at them. It was funny.
of course.
Well, that's sweet.
It was nice of them. They didn't have to.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to review that. Blast it on high and just listen very slowly.
Just like volume all the way up.
Maybe slow the video down.
What's nice is because it'll be on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
you can actually put it on your TV.
Oh,
If
yeah?
you have a smart TV.
Yes.
So when I'm watching it, I can't see it on my computer screen, which is still pretty big. I put it on the TV so my daughter and I can watch it together.
Okay.
That way she can kind of help me find things or...
Yeah.
Again, we don't watch the whole thing from start to finish. We go to some of the hot spots, look for shadows, look for those black moving heads, kind of thing.
So I heard a voice once, and it just said hello, and it sounded like a little girl.
Jolie, yeah, she did say she heard something in the house.
And a quarter drop.
Yeah. I have nights where the camera will be very still, but then other nights our cat is going crazy, his eyes are everywhere, and it just goes dark and light in the camera all the time. You just...
Mom, use it.
Come on.
There's actually nobody over at the cemetery. Let me show you guys this real quick. Sorry, I ran across back over. I thought there was a group there.
That's beautiful.
I just try to get out the other tour group's way because they already don't like me. I don't work for a company. Like, this is just me out here doing
Well, there's
it.
a lot over here. There's graves. There were graves.
Yeah, they all like to come up here. Like, I didn't even do this
Ooh.
before.
Weren't we right here?
Yes, and that
How
person
about-
showed us
He showed you the
the
picture.
ghost, the picture. Yes, we saw the picture.
Now, you know the picture is
That
first.
poor girl.
You didn't hold it, did you? So, the story
No,
with the...
she showed it on a tablet.
Okay, so if she were to pass it around, I'm surprised they do that.
Oh,
It's
Cursed?
oh, giving me
They said
chills.
that women, yeah, I just heard something like
I heard
rattle
it too.
behind me.
I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear
It's
the
nothing
rattle.
on my bag.
You didn't hear the rattle,
Maybe it is.
Jolie.
No.
Maybe it's the keychain on my back.
Go stand over here.
So, they said that women that hold the picture will start to not feel well. Kind of like those things I told you back at Big John's, the headaches, nausea, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that, a woman that is pregnant will not have a good pregnancy based on the story.
Oh,
So, again,
goodness.
I don't normally show the picture, but her name is Sue Howard Hardy. And if I say Susan, she usually corrects me through the spirit box and says it's Sue.
Oh.
So that's happened to me several times. So it's very interesting.
Fork.
Yep.
Jolie, don't move.
We are relatively close. I would say what, 2 blocks away from Susan's porch. I used to tell that story on my last route.
Yes.
So fork and
Maybe we
spoon
can
and all
take-
those extra eating words would come up while I was talking about that. I
Really
haven't done
don't
that
know.
in a few weeks now. So, but you guys, did they tell you that this site is for native Charlestonians only? And that Calhoun moved several times because they didn't know if he was actually from here?
They moved him. His
Yeah.
grave. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard
so
that.
he's actually, his sarcophagus is over there. But we can actually go back over to this
All right,
lot.
girl. That's it. We'll check it out. You kept moving around. I wish you would have stood still.
I actually felt bad for that girl. Remember last time I was just on the fence and I said, I feel
Yeah,
bad.
baby.
So there's still a lot that goes on with this corner. The brick building over there, that used to be called Bocce's Restaurant. Over this way,
Bocce's?
past the stop sign. It's right next to Tommy Condon's, which I'm sure you know where that is. It's a pretty popular restaurant down here. But Bocce's, I think Tommy Condon's just use it as storage right now. But they left because it's too haunted. Doors don't stay locked in there. Mirrors fall off walls and don't break. Like all
We
kinds.
heard that one too, right,
Yeah.
Jolie? The upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, the 5-year plan is for Nick to start a store. So I'll obviously be doing the tour still, but I'll sell ghost hunting equipment, paranormal books, and then I want to rent off the upstairs as a paranormal haunting hotel. So I'll charge $500 a night. Everybody gets a kit. I'll upload everything for them. Like I'll make a killing. Hand over
Remember the
fist.
restaurant, Jolie? That there was so much activity going on
Yeah.
in the bathroom
Yeah,
and
that
Just
yellow
got
house.
the word starve. So I had fork already, and now I got starve. Why am I getting all
Oh.
these things around?
restaurants.
I'm talking, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take that for what it is. But yeah, I do like to point out that that place is haunted as well. The stories here are pretty simple. So I already told you Calhoun's buried on this side, but right past the cemetery is a house called the Pirate House. The Pirate House is where Blackbeard's men would come in and have a few drinks and spend the night. Now there was a tunnel that went from the Pirate House over to Dock Street Theater underneath the road, and they would go in and sneak in a show. Dock Street Theater also has a story tied to the big church steeple that you guys see. Now, you pointing it that way doesn't do anything. Come on now. It's got to be touching the machine.
Come on, girl.
So, there was a young lady. Well, first off, Dock Street Theater, this used to be Dock Street, okay? It's now Church Street because the church is the only building that wouldn't move to widen the road. So that's why it goes around it, because the building was too heavy and too big to move. So when they changed Dock Street to a hotel, obviously it was not a big deal. But then we changed it back to Dock Street Dock Street Theater that we know now. So that kind of gives you the history of Dock Street Theater. There was a young lady that was working at the church. Her name was Nettie Dickerson. She is said to haunt Dock Street Theater. Here's why. She was past the marrying age of 17. She was 23 and nobody wanted to marry her. During Planters Hotel times, Mom, there was some prostitution. Put it at that. So she went down there to go get a job. She was still not happy after getting the job, and she wanted to go back to the church. So she used to go out to the balcony of Dock Street Theater and think about coming back. So the priest sees that from the church and he goes down to talk to her, wants her to come back as well. They're out there on the balcony, storm rolls in, lightning strikes the wrought iron banister that she's leaning on, and it kills her.
Oh, goodness.
So, you can see Nettie Dickerson's ghost from the knees up only. Why? Because when we turn it from Planters to Dock Street, we raise the first floor ceiling. She's walking on the floor that she knows.
Oh, okay.
So again, paranormal investigator had to dive into why is this happening.
Why?
The other ghost that you can see there is Junius Booth. He is the father of John Wilkes Booth, who shot Abraham Lincoln in a theater. Not this one, another one. So, you'll learn about Abe Lincoln later. You're a little young for that. But this is also the same time period, Mom, where Edgar Allan Poe's mother was a young actress, like child actress here in town. She was also a traveling actress, which is why Edgar loves the theater so much. And if you didn't know, do you know anything about Edgar Allan Poe?
Yes.
Okay, so you know Annabelle Lee, the poem.
Yes, she does. Yep, she does
so
too.
Annabelle Lee is buried here at Unitarian Church, about another mile up the road. Now, Unitarian Church, it has an unmarked grave that nobody seems to know which one it is, and it's that way on purpose because Annabelle Lee is, her dad left her grave unmarked, so Edgar could not find her. So, did you also know that Edgar Allan Poe was a Navyman here in Sullivan's Island? But he was under the name Edgar A. Perry.
Did not know that.
There's a restaurant down there called Poe's because he was stationed there.
Oh.
It's a great restaurant. It's one of the few places I'll actually go eat out. But great place to go. And Sullivan's Island has Fort Moultrie down there, so another history lesson for
girl.
So, we're at one last location, which is this guy right here, this building with the crosses on it. That's the powder magazine that used to hold gunpowder.
Okay, yeah.
Now, the story here, I like to show off the building because it's very interesting. It's got a 32-inch thick wall all the way around it, and there's 8 pillars around it too, one in the center. They all join into the center pillar. The roof that you see is actually filled with sand from 1712. Now, the reason for that is because if it were attacked by a cannonball, because it held gunpowder, explosive stuff, the impact would stay inside the building. The sand would keep the explosion inside instead of it going outside. So that was the reason why they built it the way that they did it. This is also right along the lines of the Charlestown Wall. So, you heard about the Charlestown Wall, I'm sure. We're also 3 blocks away from the water, which makes it just far enough away for cannonballs to not reach it. So that is why it is where it is. It's also served in 7 different wars. Now, they moved gunpowder all the time. So the 7 different wars that it served in wasn't from start to finish. They would put it here for a month or 2 and then they'd move it somewhere else. Now, all of that history I just told you about this building, no deaths ever occurred there, but they say that there's a pirate ghost that haunts this place. Now, I didn't believe any of that because I don't get into pirates. That's not my thing. But since I had to reroute my tours, I'm getting evidence from this pirate. This pirate was a female. She was a girl. So she got married to a young man because her dad told her to. She didn't want to be married to this guy. So she fell in love with another guy. He was a pirate. His name is Calico Jack. Calico Jack had a ship. And Anne Bonny, the female pirate, she joined the crew but dressed up like a man because there were no girls allowed on a pirate ship. While she was aboard the crew, she found another girl that was doing the exact same thing that she was. Her name was Mary Reed. So Mary Reed and Anne Bonny became really good friends. However, there was an ambush on the pirates, and they were all arrested, and all the men pirates were hung. Now Mary and Anne claimed that they were pregnant, so they delayed their hanging. This was exactly 300 years ago, just a few weeks ago, on November 28th, 1720. So, here's what happened. Anne Bonny's father was a rich Irishman, so he paid her parole and she got out of jail. She lived a very long, happy life. Remarried, had children. She was 84 years old when she died.
Oh, wow.
Mary
That's
Reed,
long
yeah,
for that
Mary,
time.
exactly. I know. Mary died a year later, still in prison. Nobody knows if she ever had the baby or not.
Oh.
So, I've been getting words like Anne, ship. I had heinous, which is a very dark
Ooh.
crime. She was pirate, so it's very interesting the things I'm getting out of this building. So we're going to get a little bit closer.
Okay.
You're going to listen to your spirit box. We'll spend like 5 to 10 minutes here, and then we're going to call it a night.
What was the names again?
Anne Bonny and Mary Reed.
Okay.
So let's go see if we can find some
Anne
pirates.
Bonny and Mary Reed. Remember those names? You can ask them.
And Bonnie.
Come on, girl. Come over here. Come over here. Come here, Jolie. Jolie. All right, girl. I want you to come over here.
Interrupt our little investigation.
Is she? Okay. What do you think of that?
What's that?
Okay.
Let's bring your spirit box over.
Over here, Jolie.
We'll listen in together. Go ahead and turn that thing up. But I'll be interested to see if we get any EMFs, because I've been getting little weird spikes too. You can turn it up so we can hear it. I like how delicate you are with this. Sure. Still turn it up a bit more so that way you can hear it over the traffic. It's obnoxious. There you go.
Oh,
Heard it die.
I did. I
False
heard
start.
that.
Lock and key. $84. Did you hear that?
84.
She
That's-
died when she was 84.
That's what you just told us.
So even though we heard $84, I'm still taking 84.
Yeah. Circles. Pregnant? Did you? That sounded like
I didn't.
pregnant.
Did you hear it?
That sounded like pregnant. You said something about pregnant.
Well, both of them claim to be
Yeah, I heard that.
haunted.
Come on, one more. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure it said pregnant.
I have to listen to it right after
Yeah.
84 because I definitely heard 84 and I want to
Holy
get the marker
cow.
for you on that because that's significant. That's exciting stuff.
Wow. Oh. Let me know if you pick up anything, Joe.
Of course, now I get the color blue, and
Blue.
we're away from the indigo,
Indigo.
but we're a little far away for that.
Hmm. A lot of this, Jolie, you have to listen to the history and know what should be around here. That's why he's telling you, so you can...
You have to imagine, I wrote stories on a lot of this stuff. So
It's a little overwhelming. She's like,
yeah, so that's why I record it, because there are so many stories. And then whenever there's something like 84, I'll give you where I got the information from. So it'll be a link so you can learn more about that pirate.
No.
All right, ladies. I'm
Very
gonna collect
good.
it all. Hand them over. What did you guys think?
And stop.